Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our in-depth news broadcast on this Sunday, March 23, 2025. I'm your host, here to bring you the latest developments from across the United States and the corridors of power in Washington, D.C., as we dive into two major stories commanding attention tonight. We begin with a political roadshow that's lighting up stages and stirring up controversy from coast to coast. Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York, two of the most recognizable faces of the progressive left, have teamed up for a nationwide tour they've christened Fighting Oligarchy. This isn't your typical campaign swing. It's a full-on production, complete with cheering crowds, waving banners, and a playlist of grievances aimed at shaking up the status quo. Last week, the duo rolled into Las Vegas, a city synonymous with spectacle, where they performed for tens of thousands under the shimmering lights of a casino auditorium. In a move that sparked both applause and ridicule, they mandated that every attendee wear a COVID mask. Yes, masks are making a comeback in their world, a decision that's fueled endless chatter on social media and beyond. From the desert playground of Nevada, Sanders and AOC took their show to Arizona, where the blazing sun framed their latest rally. Standing on a stage draped in red, white, and blue, they delivered a fiery one-two punch. First, a scathing attack on President Donald Trump, whom they accuse of turning the White House into a throne room for the wealthy elite. Then a jab at billionaire Elon Musk, portrayed as a cartoonish villain hoarding riches while everyday Americans struggle to pay their bills. But the real surprise came when they turned their sights inward, lambasting their own Democratic Party for what they call a betrayal of the working class. Sanders, with his trademark gravelly growl, thundered about corporate greed and oligarchs choking the life out of the middle class, while AOC, microphone in hand, rallied the crowd with a call to arms. This isn't just about Republicans. We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us. That means every one of us choosing and voting for Democrats who know how to stand for the working class, because those are the ones who can actually win. The audience erupted, but the question lingered in the air like dust over the desert. Why are they doing this now? The 2026 midterm elections are still more than 19 months away, a political eternity, and both Sanders and Ocasio-Cortez represent districts so reliably blue they could probably win re-election in their sleep. So why are they pouring millions of dollars and untold hours into this extravagant tour, complete with chartered buses, stage lighting, and a team of staffers trailing in their wake? The official line from their camp is that they're sounding the alarm about Trump's second term, a presidency they warn is eroding democratic norms and handing the keys to the kingdom to billionaires. Yet peel back the layers and a different story emerges, one of a party in crisis and two leaders fighting not just for their ideals but for their very relevance. The Democrats are still licking their wounds from Vice President Kamala Harris's devastating loss in November, a defeat that saw voters reject the far-left agenda in droves. Open borders, men competing in women's sports, diversity, equity, and inclusion mandates, calls to scrap private health insurance. These once sacred tenets of progressivism have become punchlines for a growing number of Americans, leaving Sanders and AOC on the defensive. Their Fighting Oligarchy tour, despite its noble-sounding title, has its share of ironies. Critics point to their acceptance of hefty donations from liberal mega-donors like George Soros, a fact that undercuts their anti-wealth rhetoric and has fueled accusations of hypocrisy. In Las Vegas, the mask mandate drew jeers from conservatives and independents alike, who questioned why such measures were needed in 2025, while in New York City today, the Democratic Socialists of America, the group that launched AOC's meteoric rise, staged a noisy protest outside Chuck Schumer's office, demanding his resignation for not shutting down the government over budget disputes. It's a vivid illustration of the party's fracture. On one side, Sanders and AOC doubling down on socialism, the Green New Deal, and identity politics. On the other, a rising tide of centrist Democrats like Representative Richie Torres of New York, Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, and former Governor Andrew Cuomo, who's eyeing a mayoral run in New York City. These moderates are biding their time, building war chests, and sketching a pragmatic path forward, while even liberal stalwart Bill Maher has signaled a break from the far left, accepting a friendly invite to meet with Trump and hinting that the old playbook of screaming about norms isn't working. Could this tour, with its echoes of 1960s protest songs and vintage Sanders rants, be the final bow for socialism in the Democratic Party? The jury's still out, but the spotlight is dimming. Now, let's pivot to our second story, where a constitutional showdown is brewing in Washington with all the drama of a high-stakes courtroom thriller. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer of New York took to the airwaves this morning on NBC's Meet the Press, issuing a stark warning that's reverberated from Capitol Hill to the White House. In a tense exchange with host Kristen Welker, Schumer laid out his case with the gravity of a prosecutor addressing a jury. American democracy, he said, is at risk under President Donald Trump's leadership. Look, Donald Trump is a lawless, angry man, Schumer declared, his voice steady but laced with urgency. He thinks he should be king. He thinks he should do whatever he wants, regardless of the law, and he thinks judges should just listen to him. It's a blistering accusation from one of the Senate's most powerful Democrats, and it's rooted in a clash that's pitting the executive branch against the judiciary in a way that's rattling the foundations of government. The flashpoint is U.S. District Court Judge James Boasberg, a federal jurist who recently threw a wrench into Trump's immigration agenda. Boasberg ordered the administration to halt deportation flights carrying alleged Venezuelan gang members, a ruling spurred by legal challenges from immigrant rights groups. The decision sent Trump into a fury. He took to social media, branding Boasberg a disgrace and calling for his impeachment, a move that drew gasps even in a city accustomed to political fireworks. The backlash was swift. Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts, in a rare public statement, pushed back, saying, "Impeachment is not an appropriate response to disagreement concerning a judicial decision." But Trump, never one to retreat, doubled down, railing against nationwide injunctions, court orders that have repeatedly derailed his policies, and urging the Supreme Court to step in and curb what he calls judicial overreach. It's a stance that's thrilled his base but alarmed legal scholars, who warn it could erode trust in the courts. We have to watch him like hawks. We'll keep you updated as events progress. Stay with us.